everybody! Hello and welcome to Conversations by Water. This is the weekly live stream in which case we're talking with local wave makers about how they are inspiring change in the community and beyond. Now today our local wave maker is Executive Director of this Pelican Seabird Station, Christopher Boykin.
Hello.
And Chris, we've known each other through different circles through the years. I'm really excited to finally get a chance to talk to you in your environment, all about these birds. And as I always do, the first thing that we start with is, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what is your water?
So my background is I grew up in Mississippi, and I grew up exploring the islands of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Horn Island is where I really learned to find my stillness and my love of the ocean and of water. But my background is herpetology, marine science. I worked for the coral program for 12 years, a lot of nonprofits. I studied terrapins, diamondback terrapins for about 8 years, and turtles for about 15 years. I love turtles. But what is my water? I love water. Water is life. Water is the source of all life. We're water people living in a water planet. We must protect our water. We must revere our water. Water is sacred.
Absolutely. I so appreciate that answer, because that's how we feel too. It's a funny thing when you find your water, when you have that connection. The people who have that connection end up becoming fearless water warriors. And I want to talk about how you are a water warrior for this Pelican Seabird Station. So how long have you been here? How long have you been Executive Director? And what is your role here?
Okay. So the Seabird Station is 39 years old, founded in 1980. I've been here for 3.5 years, straight from the coral program. But my role is Executive Director, which means mostly fundraising, donor stewardship, the vision, staff management, volunteers, communications, grant writing. So telling our story to the Dade County and larger community about why what we do is important and why they should care.
Yeah. And so why is what you do important? Tell us what happens here.
So, as you all know, we're at latitude 25, so we're one of the southernmost latitudes in mainland U.S. And as you know, biological diversity increases with lower latitudes. So we have more diversity than anywhere else in mainland United States. And aside from that, we have the Everglades National Park, Big Cypress, Dr. Tubus, Biscayne, and with all this comes some endemic South Florida species found nowhere else. Aside from that, we're jetting out in the peninsula into the Caribbean Atlantic Basin, and we get some really cool migrant vagrant birds from Cuba, the Bahamas, etc. And aside from that, Miami is part of the Atlantic Flyway for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of migratory birds of hundreds of species. So we really are a stop-off point and the first return point for these migrants traveling thousands of miles to Tierra del Fuego, South America, back up to Canada. So we get a lot of interesting birds passing through Miami and our various municipalities, and our homes, our backyards, our cities, our skyscrapers pose a lot of obstacles to these migratory birds, and they wind up getting injured or hurt, orphaned, and that's where we come in.
Right, so a neat thing.
Sorry for that long answer.
No, it's perfect. And actually, really what you're trying to say is that our blue backyard is really special.
Very special, very special. And the coral reefs, the Everglades, the coral reefs.
Yeah, everything interplays with one another to bring us what we have here and to attract all of these birds from everywhere. So an interesting thing that I've been learning is that you've gotten over 8,000, you've received over 8,000 brown pelicans alone just here in the center over the years. But you've also received so many other different kinds of species. Their injuries are different, right? So what is kind of a more common injury that you see in a pelican species, for instance, versus blue jays?
Okay. So brown pelicans, obviously, it's fisheries entanglements. So about 3/4 of our pelicans come in with fisheries entanglements, and we have at least about 6,600 brown pelicans. Blue jays and our songbirds, they're more of our backyard bird species. Oh, good. That's
there we go.
They're more of our backyard bird species, and their big injuries are twofold. Either window strikes, flying into our windows, seeing the reflection of the sky in our windows, and we have window decals for that. Or our cats. Cats or dogs, they both attack birds, but particularly the cats. And I love cats. I have a cat. Had a cat. Past tense. But cats really do a number on our backyard birds and our migratory birds. So that's a a big issue.
So along those lines then, what can, if you do see that there's a bird that's been entangled, or what is a way to avoid any kind of entanglement to begin with?
Well,
is there a way?
I mean, basically, don't feed pelicans, don't feed any wildlife that attracts them to fishing piers and reinforces bad behavior. You want wild animals to remain wild animals, not necessarily learn bad behavior from us. So essentially, and not discarding fishing line, not cutting line. If you get a pelican, don't cut the line. Reel it in gently. Try to remove the hook or call us. We'll come and meet you. We have an ambulance. We have an Operation Rescue group of over a dozen dedicated volunteers all across the city and the county that will drive to you and meet you. We're open every day of the year, 9 to 5. And being 39 years old, we do have a large volunteer base, and some of them with us for 15 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's really special. And part of the reason why we do these conversations by water is so that you all can not only get a chance to learn about these local wave makers, but then also find out how you can help out. And so we will be including links to the Seabird Station and how you can become a volunteer here. We'll make sure we include those in the comments below. And always, if you have questions, feel free to ask, and we'll make sure we get to those after the interview too. So another question I have for you: what is your favorite part of your job?
I have a lot of favorite parts. It's challenging and rewarding working here, being at the helm, pulling up in the morning and seeing, here on the bay with Biscayne Bay and all my wonderful staff and volunteers. Releasing the birds obviously is the number one thing. We released a great white heron the other day. It was only the 10th one we'd ever received.
Oh, wow.
So they're really more of the white morph of the great blue heron. They're really more in the Keys and the Everglades.
Wait, you said a white morph of the great blue
heron?
Oh my gosh, tell me about this. I've never heard of this.
The great blue herons range all the way up into Canada and New England, and they're pretty common, and they're the largest heron species. But the great white heron is only found in the Florida Keys, Southern Everglades, and Cuba and the Bahamas. And we only had 10 here in the last 4 decades.
Wow.
So we got to release one last Wednesday. It's really exciting.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Yeah. And you did mention that there are some challenges. What is a challenge of running? This is a nonprofit here. So there's those challenges of running a nonprofit. What is some of your biggest challenges? We want to help. That's the purpose. We want to help.
We do meet some interesting characters, in the community, because there are some interesting characters in the community, and we love them all. That can be difficult sometimes, but fundraising, is always a thing. For so many years, the Seabird Station has just kind of scraped by and edged by, and this is Miami. This is one of the biggest glitz and glam cities in the country, and with so much money and show and so much biodiversity, we shouldn't be just scratching by. We should be a state-of-the-art facility, and we are. But we should have unlimited resources to help these beautiful and vulnerable creatures that are injured primarily because of us. So yeah, fundraising, getting the word out, because the media market is very inundated.
Sure.
So getting the word out, reaching the various 38 municipalities in Dade County. It's not one city, it's 38 small cities all scrunched together.
Yeah.
And then fundraising. So yeah.
And do you also have school groups that come in?
Absolutely. We actually did 47 school visits this last semester.
Oh, wow.
And we're doing summer camp this summer, just for a week. But we do get school groups coming through. We will go to classrooms, and lots of community events and civic groups in the evenings.
Yeah. One of the things that you had talked about, we do have all these migratory species that are coming through. Is there a way that us as locals can promote native species or promote ideal habitat for these kinds of birds?
So that's so important. So native plants are so important. It's critical. One of my favorite examples is Billback's Cape Florida State Park. They have the Cape Florida Banding Station, and in one of their studies last year, they had an American red start warbler fly in at a certain weight, emaciated from crossing the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
Emaciated from these storms they passed, and in a matter of 1 or 2 weeks, it had put on 52% of its body weight and was able to continue on its migratory journey up the eastern seaboard. But hardwood trees, native trees are so critical as a fuel source on a stopover site like Miami as our birds migrate up and down the Americas each year. Native plants are critical.
Oh yeah, and there's an extension.org is a really good place for people to go and look for resources on how you can plant native plants, what exactly are native plants, because we have so many tropical plants that are here that I think a lot of people think are native but maybe are not. So there's a lot of resources out there. We'll also throw those into the comment section. So do you have a guest for us?
Yes, we will go check out some of the brown pelicans and American white pelican.
Okay.
So follow me.
This is gonna be fun. Let's go.
That's what I figured. I was like, I don't know if they're filming, so I don't want to say anything. I'm just gonna like wave.
Live, no problem.
Yeah, she's just waiting for you. She knows you're finishing up now.
Here we have a couple of brown pelicans. These are adult brown pelicans right here. You can go first. So you can see them. So follow me. Follow me this way.
I can help you. Okay, so we're gonna turn this around, and here we go.
Oh, I guess. Okay.
I was gonna do it the other way
Okay,
too.
perfect. Do that. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, you can turn the camera around.
This is probably good.
Yeah.
So can you can turn it around?
Can you turn the camera around? Let's see. Let me just do a loop. All right, here we go.
Okay, so here we have an American white pelican. His name is Monroe. He came to us from Michigan. He missed migration last fall. He had some issues with his wingtips and with his feet. And obviously it freezes there. The lakes are freezing, it's getting cold. So he came down on a Delta Airlines cargo flight.
Oh, wow.
And American white pelicans are different than brown pelicans in that they don't dive for their food. They just kind of mouth the water with their large pouches, which can hold up to 4 gallons of water. They're usually about 30% to 40% larger than the brown pelicans. He doesn't look that much bigger, but he really is a bit bigger than the brown pelican right there. And although these are two different species, a brown pelican and an American white pelican, they're actually kind of like a couple. So these two, they don't mate, they couldn't produce offspring, but they're basically best friends, or they have a romantic interest. But this is Pepe. Pepe's been with us for a long time.
Pepe is the white one?
Pepe's the brown pelican,
the brown pelican
in front. And Monroe is the white pelican in the back and that's actually a breeding horn. And you see the red on the gular pouch right there?
Yeah.
And that Rod Stewart hair is just amazing. But yeah. But Pepe actually goes to a lot of classrooms. He was actually in one of Xavier Cortada's spelling bees, and he judged a spelling bee with 250 students. And the kids all wrote love letters to Pepe. It was amazing. But these brown pelicans all have injuries, various wing injuries, and they can't be released into the wild. So we're not a retirement facility, but the alternative for them wasn't release. And so we did keep 10 of these. So we do have 10 permanent brown pelicans. We have 3 in the next enclosure. Those were building a nest, etc. And so yeah, they get fresh seawater every day, and we give them live fish when we can get them to keep their fishing instincts and some enrichment for them. But yeah.
And do pelicans over time, do they actually become blind?
I can't speak to that other than to say any animal that spends its life, a long life in the sun, might be prone to that at a long old age. So the oldest brown pelican that we know about is 43 years old, and that's from bird banding returns. We do band all of our pelicans, and we've had some bands come back from Cuba, Virginia, the Carolinas. But yeah, we've released about 6,600 pelicans over the years.
And pelicans actually have a positive, one of these ocean optimism stories in which they used to be on the endangered list.
Exactly. It's one of our success stories. Like the American bald eagle, brown pelicans were delisted in 2009. They were, endangered for decades, for 3 decades. And I'd like to think that the work here at Pelican Harbor by Harry and Darlene Kelton over 4 decades was part of that. And right across the bay is Bird Key, and Bird Key is one of the largest bird colonies in Dade County in South Florida. Tons of baby pelicans, tons of nesting pelicans. It's amazing.
And people can actually sign up to go.
Yeah, we do tours. We do a monthly tour every a sunset cruise every month, and they're always sold out. We see between 15 to 20 species, about 500 to 700 birds, including magnificent frigate birds. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
So what is your hope for the future of the Pelican Seabird Station?
Well, I hope we really.
Oops.
Oh, here we go.
Let's get the birds in the back.
Let's get the birds in the background. I really, my hope is for growth, and that the residents all know that we're here, that we're a resource for them, and in education and behavior change, people know about window decals, the impact of cats, fishing gear, rodenticide poisoning. You know, so many of our birds of prey get poisoned through rodenticide, secondary poisoning through the rats and mice that people don't want in their homes.
Oh, sure.
So I want us to grow and be a state-of-the-art. We are state-of-the-art, but to grow even further, have a larger facility, more education. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Chris. You've been so much fun to speak with today. You are such a wave maker. And
we love
so
water. We love you. Thank you.
We so appreciate the work, of people like Chris, who really are truly wave makers, who are trying to make a bigger difference in the community, not only for the citizens, but also for the furry and the feathery citizens that we have coming through here. Because we really do live in a very special blue backyard. And if you want to know more about the Pelican Seabird Station, we will make sure we include the website down below. You can also follow you on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, all of that. We'll make sure we have those links down below. And definitely sign up to go on one of those sunset cruises to see the rookery. It's a big deal to have so many birds in one place. It's really beautiful.
And with the city skyline in the background, it's kind of surprising to have that much biodiversity right in front of our Magic City skyline.
Yeah, I love that. So we're going to give you lots of opportunities where you can be a part of this special community and this special environment. And again, thank you, Chris, for all of your efforts. Next time, everybody, I hope you join us. We will be coming to you for our final Conversations by Water from Miami. May was all about all of the movers and shakers happening here in Miami. So really excited to get to know them. And tune in next Wednesday for our next Conversations by Water. Until next time, make sure that you are doing something meaningful and go out and be a wave maker. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye.